So I just got done watching Supergirl, which is the latest DCU film, and the last one was Superman. And quite frankly, I have really enjoyed this universe so far. The only project I didn't really like was Peacemaker season two, but out of the three we've gone so far, yeah, no, this is definitely I'm enjoying James Gunn's DC universe, and I was obviously very excited for Supergirl because for one, the casting here I really liked, and for two, I just really think this is an underrated character. And so, with this movie getting so much backlash because of the same reasons, honestly, the Captain Marvel, the first movie got backlash. I was very excited for it still, but I am not looking forward to the discourse after this movie, and especially if how the movie plays out. So let's go ahead and get into what the plot of this movie is. Kara Zor-El is just living her life, going to planets with red suns, getting drunk with Crypto, until Crypto gets taken out, and this girl comes into her life, and she has to help out this girl, but also trying to save her dog, meeting colorful characters along the way, including Jason Momoa's Lobo. And here's the thing, like I said, very excited for this movie. I obviously I liked it. I really did enjoy this one quite a bit. Mainly because it is so different from Superman. And Superman I thought was good, but not great. I really liked the newest Superman movie, but it's not like a perfect film or anything. And this isn't a perfect movie either. But I like how different this movie feels because I was worried that you're gonna have two very similar movies in tone and style. But no, this one is much darker in some moments, and it feels a lot more gritty. It feels a lot more, well, very like how some people have been comparing it, very Mad Max-esque, which I actually really vibed about this movie. With you being on this planet that's mostly a desert and having bars and all these characters that are always trying to fight each other, it's bound to happen that this will feel more like a Mad Max movie. But it really does, and you got some Tank Girl vibes sprinkling in there here and there, and it makes for a really fun time at the movies. It's actually a very short movie too, which I found to be kind of a little odd when I first found out about it. But when you watch the movie, the story, while it takes a second to get going in the first like 10, 15 minutes, it does pick up hardcore and it goes so fast after that to where you would think like, oh no, there's not going to be any good character development, but there is, and there's some great character moments here. I really love the relationship between Kara and Ruth. And with this being based off of A Woman of Tomorrow, which is a comic that I love, it doesn't quite have the visuals of that comic really. It's not really as, popping with color. But what it keeps about that comic is the spirit involved with it and just how different Kara is compared to Superman. She is not a perfect character. She's a very messy character. And so it makes for a movie that, while I don't like as much as Superman, it is, and it's much more messy movie than Superman was. It's still a very interesting and fun movie to watch. What I really liked about this too is you get to see Kara's perspective of Krypton, and you get to see her first meeting with Superman, and it is just as great as you would think. I love those moments in the movie, especially the destruction of Krypton. It is so sad to watch because you've never seen that from the perspective of like somebody that grew up on Krypton, because we only ever seen Krypton explode from Clark's perspective, not really anybody else's. So it is really good to see that perspective here, and it makes sense why Supergirl is such a messy character. And I will say, one of my biggest issues with the movie is the main villain. I actually thought that it was Krim. I really didn't like him in this movie. I thought he kind of sucked. He wasn't a great villain. I liked his design, but he just wasn't good. And Lobo here, I love Jason Momoa as his character. Of course, he's always wanted to play this character, so he does a great job of it. He's just not really in the movie a lot. Like when he's there, oh man, it's great. It is so much fun to watch. But for the most part, he is kind of absent throughout some. But the main core of this relationship in this movie is the relationship between Kara and Ruth, and it really works here, especially Kara and Crypto. Like you get to see them meeting for the first time and just how close they are. And then whenever Crypto gets hurt, and I'm not going to spoil what happens to Crypto throughout the movie because it is a pretty big spoiler. But it does lead to one of the more saddest moments in the movie, and it is definitely great. I really enjoyed that a lot. Also, the soundtrack to this movie is great too, and the score. Oh, there's some great needle drops throughout this one. And you would think like, oh, it's like a Guardians of the Galaxy space adventure from the trailer, but this is not really that. It has a much more different tone compared to that movie or those movies. And I really appreciate that because one of my biggest worries was with this universe was it was going to feel very similar in tone to Guardians, but like throughout all the movies. And so far, we have a Superman movie that feels a little bit more in tone with what James Gunn typically does, but we also don't. It is really cool to see. We also got Clayface coming out soon too, which is very different. So I feel like this universe has a very bright future, and while if they keep sticking to each movie has the same heart, because this movie has a lot of heart, but also a different tone, different vibe throughout, then this universe could honestly surpass Marvel potentially, even though Marvel is about to probably end soon. But no, anyway, with all that being said, yeah, I really enjoyed Supergirl. I kind of expected that I would. There's some problems here and there, definitely, but this is a very heartfelt, very emotional movie that I found to be really fun. So I will give Supergirl about an 8 out of 10.